Gonna be so sick. This is the build I'm planning to play, guys. This is it. Right here. This is the one. You don't know if I'm gonna play Druid? Okay, so you don't have to. But what I have heard is that Druids are nuts endgame, so that's a plus. It's a plus. But yeah, we're going Flay with the Thorns. We're going Rend with the extra vulnerability damage. We're going Rallying Cry with the Fortify. We're going Challenging Shot with the extra Thorns. We're doing the Thorns passes, which I think are kind of like, not Biss, but that's what I want to do. I want to do my Thorns build. We're doing War Cry with more Fortify, so I'm going to be getting Fortify off these 2 shouts, which will be helpful. We're doing longer duration on shouts and regen on shouts. We're doing movement speed. I'm going to do Steel Grasp because it pulls everybody in for like a big Rend bleed, which is like fantastic. It also makes them vulnerable and gives me Berserking, which is wild. I'm not doing the race. No, I'm going to do Softcore. I want to do PvP, so I just want to relax and have fun with the game, man. But taking direct damage gives me a little bit of Fortify, and then when you have Fortify over 50% of your maximum life, you deal 12% increased damage. So if you have a ton of Fortify, you're cranking damage too. Bleed affects slow enemies just a little bit. That's good just for proccing damage while CC'd on stuff. We are going to do Cut to the Bone, where bleeding effects deal 80% increased damage to vulnerable enemies, which also goes with my Rend, so it's like 30% extra damage to vulnerable. And vulnerable is already debuffing them by like 20% or something like that, right? So it's insane. Insane. Pit Fighter means we deal close damage, and we take less damage from farther away targets. No Mercy is we're going to have a critical strike critical strike chance increased against immobilized, stunned, or slowed enemies. Everything's gonna be slowed because everything's gonna be bleeding. Yeah, 3 hours to go. Yep. We're gonna do Expose Vulnerability, which dealing direct damage with a Weapon Mastery skill causes your next core skill to make enemies vulnerable, which would be sick because we have Steel Grasp. So Steel Grasp is gonna be doing its vulnerable thing, and then after I make them vulnerable with Steel Grasp, Rend itself has a chance to make them vulnerable, so lots of vulnerability, as you can tell. And then my ultimate, I'm just going to go ahead and take increased critical strike chance damage with 2-handed weapons. And even though I'm doing a bunch of bleed stuff, don't worry, because our last key passive is when causing an enemy to bleed, you have a chance equal to your critical strike chance to increase the bleed amount by 100% of your critical strike damage bonus. So basically, your bleeds, in the application of your bleed can crit. And that scales with crit damage increases as well. Crazy stuff. Like, this is going to be a lot of fun because your bleeds are going to destroy enemies, of course. But all like the little dinky enemies that just like kind of like scatter around, they hit you one time and explode to thorns, and then you just go whooshing, grab everybody in with your Steel Grasp and big cleave. Now, another thing that you could do is you could do hitting enemies gives you fury with Rend. That would be another good one. I'm leaning in a little bit heavier into the Rend duration because I'm not that worried about like packs of mobs. It's the big scary mobs that are a problem, and we're gonna have so much freaking vulnerability on these guys. They're gonna get ripped to shreds. Ripped to shreds. That's my plan. The aspects are kind of like just find some basic ones. There's a lot of good aspects that you can put on your gear. I think this kind of thing is like we're going to sort of see what we get. And the Paragon is we don't have any Paragon set up yet because we haven't gotten that far yet. This is just me leveling. This is just my plan for leveling. Obviously, for your stats, you just kind of take what you can get. But ideally, you get like vulnerable damage, plus damage to bleeding, damage to close. That kind of thing is what you're looking for. Plus Rend plus Rend skills is great. Plus crit chance is great eventually once you get this. But your Thorns can crit. That's pretty fun. Some things that you can look for as well is like extra health, but generally you want to take more damage. We're looking for damage and CDR, damage, vulnerability damage, damage over time, damage to bleeding, that kind of thing on rings. Helm CDR, damage while berserking, because we do have hopefully a chance to be berserk a little bit. Not a ton of berserk, but it should be all right. For chest, you want more damage reduction from close enemies, which will go well with close combat, or pit fighter, I think that's what it's called. Where is it? Yeah, pit fighter. Just damage reduction. Legs, dodge, damage reduction from close. And for boost, just move speed, strength, dodge. We're putting Amethyst in my weapon for damage over time. Emerald in my armor for more thorns. You could also do rubies for more HP. It's kind of a similar idea. And then Skull is just for more armor. That's my plan. Website. This is on our sponsor. Mobalytics. So you can also get the overlay. But yeah, ! build will link you this whole build, and if you want to, you can do this little stat where you're leveling. You can actually click this little skills thing into the leveling, and it'll give you like a level by level recommendation for how to spend your points, which is really cool. Really fun. Should be awesome. Very much looking forward to this. This will be sweet. This is, my build is only for a Barbarian. However, if you go to Mobalytics website, they have builds for just everything, man. Look. You can sort by Rogue, Sork, Barb. You'll see my Barbarian build right here. I'm not sure if it's always going to be near the top, but there it is. Yeah. Mobalytics actually goated so good for League, yeah. They're our sponsor now. Like, for D4. So insane. Roder, thanks for 25 months, man. Big flicks for you. Appreciate it, dude. So insane, dude. So insane. Yeah. I had a call with them the other day, and they're like, yeah, you know, we've done a good job with League and everything, and they want to keep doing that with all the, like, the Riot games have been a big success, but they want to do things that they're also just passionate about, and they're passionate about D4, so we're doing it. Mobalytics. Yep. Mobalytics. Yeah. Planning to add channel productions? We need to do something, yeah. You had no idea to show their build that they were doing D4 guides? Yeah, well, now you know. Hey, glad to help. We're already getting some value out of the sponsorship. Putting you in contact with helpful information and, you know, expanding your knowledge. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. But yeah, you can go and sort by certain builds. Am I featured? I'm not. There's no featured builds yet, but there's mine. The Bajheera's Bleed and Thorns leveling build. And there's other leveling build options as well. There's other like end game builds as well. They're sorted by like their rank. Like there's like S class builds right here. If you want to do Whirlwind, if you want to do Hammer of the Ancients, you got that option. Which we will do eventually. You will definitely be seeing like Bajheera's like PvP builds up here too, for sure. You'll be seeing that. But for right now, I got my Thorns build. Thorn Bleeds. And then of course down here you can scroll down a little bit. You get a summary of the build. I say it's a fun build that uses Bleed and Thorns damage for fast leveling experience. You only need a little gear to make it work. And we'll use abilities like Flay, Rend, different shouts for everything offense and defense. Pretty sweet. The build is designed to be a fun leveling build that makes use of Bleed and Thorns damage to quickly dispatch of hordes of smaller monsters when they hit you, and can down tougher monsters with big damage over time effects. That's the Bleed. Flay is like your main sort of standard downtime ability to generate fury and buff your defense and thorns, while Rend will be your primary source of dealing damage. The build also comes with 3 different shouts to empower your Barbarians' offensive and defensive capabilities, along with the hook that can control the battlefield. Maybe we should call this, we should go in there and maybe just call it Steel Grasp, but that's okay. This build takes very little gear investment to be effective, so it's a perfect starter to set up, which is why I'm using it for my leveling set. But it does scale like crazy if you can get the right stats on your items. So like vulnerability damage, bleeding damage, damage to close, that kind of stuff is crazy. The gameplay loop, like I said, is you kind of just use use Flay to generate fury, get your damage reduction stacks up, get your thorn stacks up. Then you challenging shout to taunt everything to you and buff your thorns. Then you rally and cry to buff your frenzy generation, your fury generation. You war cry to buff up your damage. Hook everybody in. Whoosh! Huge Rends to slam them down. That's the plan. That's what we're going to be doing. Get ready. It's on. And then this, of course, is available on mobalytics.gg/Diablo 4, Barbarian, Bajheera's Bleed. But, of course, you can just have ! Build in the chat as well. I think it's deluxe and ultimate versions get this. Yeah. But that's what we're cooking with right now, boys. That's what I'm planning to do 1 to 50, and then once we get the Paragons, we'll go from there. And the cool thing is, you know, once I select the Paragons that I like, once I get a look at them and play what I want, then we'll just jot a quick message to my dudes on the Mobalytics team, and we'll get it updated on the guide for you guys. So this is the kind of thing that we can update over time too. We'll make new fresh guides. Like there could be like an end game bleed build as well. So that's the kind of thing that we'll be doing. But yeah, looking forward to that. Should be a lot of fun. I'm pumped. Something purple. But yeah, big shout out to our sponsor, Mobalytics, for giving us a chance to work together. This is gonna be so much fun. I like it. Having the ability to very quickly like make a like 1-page guide for you guys that you can just very quickly tab to, either on the website or on the overlay. That's just like super ideal for me, because we're constantly, like, if you watch the we're constantly talking about like my build and like every game that I play. So having it all in one spot to hit like this is just so good.